This episode of Prem Brulee is sponsored by The Vintage Wave, an online boutique sports apparel store with throwbacks and unique one-of-a-kind vintage goods. From new Mitchell and Ness looks to classic Nike and Adidas looks, The Vintage Wave has everything a sports or fashion fan could need. Visit them online at thevintagewave.com.
You're listening to a Holyfield podcast.
All right, welcome listeners to episode 2 of Prem Brulee. I am excited to welcome my next rotating co-host, Holyfield contributor Akshat Singhal. What's up, Akshat?
How's it going? Glad to be on.
Glad to have you, man. So, only episode 2, but I'm excited to get this going more regularly, and I'm happy to have Akshat on for the toasty takes here. So, without further ado, our first section is called Yeah Fam or Nah. It's our version of a Love It or Shove It. I'll read a sports headline, and you and I will take turns deciding if we love it, yeah fam, or don't love it, nah. Okay, so the first one I have is some record NFL signings. First, we had Odell Beckham becoming the highest paid wide receiver in history with a 5-year, $95 million deal with $65 million of it guaranteed. Next, I think just a day later, Aaron Rodgers signed a 4-year, $134 million extension. Interesting about his deal is that it now adds to his current one that'll now total between $176 and $180 million total. And he's going to receive 67 of that million before the end of this year and just over 80 million before St. Patrick's Day. So he serves to get almost $150 million before the end of March. So lucky him. And then some minor ones. It looks like the Rams are clearing the way. They're restructuring a couple contracts to sign Aaron Donald, finally get him in camp. Obviously, Raiders fans wish the same were for Khalil Mack, but that doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. And another defensive lineman, Geno Atkins, for your Cincinnati Bengals, signed a 4-year, $65.3 million extension. And that is his average of $16.3 million a year is the highest for a 30-plus-year-old non-QB in league history. So, it's a lot of information, but yeah, fam or nah to these big deals, and then dive into whichever ones you want to analyze a little bit more, man.
I'm a yeah fam to all of these. I'm a firm believer in just paying your stars, and we knew OBJ was going to get big money. Obviously, we knew Aaron Rodgers was going to get huge money. I mean, those numbers are absurd. $80 million before March of next year.
That'd be nice.
Man, you'd be set for life in 6 months. And then Aaron Donald, he's going to get paid. We still don't know exactly what it's going to be, but we know it's going to be huge. And if Geno just got 16.3 average, Aaron Donald's going to get more than that.
And he deserves it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Geno for the Bengals, I'm happy they did this. I mean, anything that keeps the stars in Cincinnati, I'm a fan of. I've seen them let their stars walk far too often in the last few years. So this was a pleasant, not surprise, but just, it was nice to see.
I hear you. So for me, I'm a yeah fam in general. I think it's long overdue that NFL players start getting paid. It's weird to think about even Aaron Rodgers' deal being probably a normal deal for Major League Baseball players and NBA players, but we kind of trick ourselves into what's normal and what's not based on each sport. So kind of crazy to talk about Odell Beckham getting $65 million in guarantees when that's pretty much a role player's contract like Tristan Thompson or something like that. So
yeah,
I'm a yeah fam. I hope it's a sign of things to come. Aaron Rodgers and Odell, and Aaron Donald especially, Geno Atkins too, but especially those first three I mentioned, they're the top at their position, and they deserve to get paid like that. So, big yeah fam to that, even though I hate Odell Beckham because he's on the Giants, whatever.
And interestingly, I think the cap is supposed to go up, or projected to go up, like $20 million in a couple years. So I think these deals are only going to get bigger.
It's nice, and if I'm a Giants fan, I love the deal with Odell because if for some reason they top out and are rebuilding, Odell's deal is very top heavy. He's getting paid early in his deal, so I think it's after year 3 they could stand to cut ties with them and not lose a lot of money if they decided to go that route. I wouldn't agree with them going that route, but still, they're kind of friendly deals for the teams and the players, which is what I like, especially about the Beckham and Rodgers deal. The teams set themselves up to pay now and not be cap strapped in a couple years. So, big fan to that. Wanted to cover the NBA real quick. I know it's off season and kind of a lull after very exciting free agency, but Carmelo Anthony signed with the Houston Rockets, made it official on a minimum deal, 1 year, $2.4 million. It's worth noting that the Rockets, like we covered before in the previous episode, they lost some key wing players. They lost Trevor Ariza, Luke Richard Mbamute. So, fam or not to them adding Carmelo?
For the money, I guess I'll say fam, but their overall offseason, I got to say nah, just because, I think of all the title contenders, they had the worst offseason, say for the Cavs. Losing LeBron obviously is the worst, but they're still a title contender, I guess, on paper. They're not beating the Warriors, no one is, but I don't know what Melo really adds to that team, but for that money, I guess why not just add him and hope that he's okay with coming off the bench, and maybe you get the Olympics version of Melo that we thought we would get last year in OKC.
Yeah, I was originally thinking you were going to be a for sure nah because everyone is hating on this move, but if you're going to lose wing players, and I know you lost a lot of defense, and you can sign someone like Carmelo for cheap, I say you do it. I'm a fam to this. I have no idea how this is going to work, and I say the only way it will is if he comes off the bench. When he was in Oklahoma City, he laughed that off, so this could easily turn into a knot, but it'd be quite the scoring unit off the bench if him and Eric Gordon were your first two off the bench to relieve some starters. So in that sense, I would like it. It's a nice shot of offense there to add. So I'm a fam to this. I think I'm a cautious fam, but I dig it either way. Before we wrap up fam or not, I wanted to cover the NFL preseason. Just in general, fam or not, are you in favor of it? I know a lot of fans want to see it go down to 2 games or fear a lot about the preseason, but you fam or not?
As a fan, I'd have to say I'm a nah. I understand it from the team's perspectives, and they use it as kind of those last few weeks to dwindle or get down to that 53-man roster. But from a fan's perspective, I do this every year where I get excited that the preseason's coming around, and then by the end of the preseason, I realize I only watch like 5 minutes. So I really don't care about the games. They mean nothing. 3/4 of the games just end up being second string, third string, fourth string, just like guys who are fringe players. So in general, as a fan, I'm a nah.
I'm even bigger than that. I'm a nah because of the threat of injury. I just freaking hate it. And remember back in the day, you'd play Madden and you didn't want to play the preseason games, so you'd sim it just hoping that there wasn't a serious injury. That's what this feels like in real life. You're just holding your breath that one of the injuries doesn't catch someone on your own team, or God forbid if you were one of those idiots who drafts fantasy early, it doesn't impact that. So I'm a huge nod to preseason. I understand the pull and what they have to do it. I would love to see it even get shortened, even if that doesn't mean extend the regular season. That will never happen, but that fear of injury is scary. I love the fact that there's football in the air and you can just feel it as soon as preseason starts and the first episode of HBO Hard Knocks airs, that sort of thing. But outside of that, I'm not really for it, man.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the injuries part. But yeah, for sure. For that reason, I'm definitely a nah. It's just...
Nothing
Not
good
enough.
comes of it, man.
Yeah.
It's like going out past 1 a.m. Chances are it's not going to go well for you.
Right. There's just not a good enough reward for that risk.
Exactly. All right. So that wraps up Yeah Fam or Nah. I wanted to next go to likey, no likey, hate it, what we liked, didn't like, and what we absolutely despised from the last few days in sports or just in life in general. So it will be tradition to start positive and go negative because I'm a positive guy, but a true pessimist when it comes to the sports world. So along that same theme, Akshat, take us away with your likey.
I've only got one here, and since we're coming off preseason talk, I might as well keep it on preseason. My one likey is John Ross. As a Bengals fan, it hurt last year to see John Ross touch the ball one time and fumble on that one play. But he's been pretty good in the preseason, and I'm hoping that this just means that he'll actually be utilized this year, and maybe he won't be hurt, and maybe he won't fumble. That 57-yarder he had against Buffalo, that was fire. I love that. I want more of that.
Oh, yeah, where he just stopped on a dime and made two defensive backs fall.
Yeah. He made them like run into each other, kind of just ran around them. Yeah, I want more of that.
You better hope for your sake, man. All right, so just like you, in true pessimist fashion, I only have one likey myself, and that is Tiger Woods being back in contention the last two majors. I know I'm like a lot of people. I'm definitely tuning in when he's in contention, and now that he's starting to get back to his playing ways, I went on such a roller coaster thinking there's no way he was ever not going to top Jack Nicklaus to for a while there thinking, okay, he's never going to get another major. And now thinking maybe there's a chance again, like Lloyd Christmas and Dumb and Dumber. So I love the fact that he's in contention. He was so close. And it makes the sport of golf exciting. He's one of a kind in that sense that brings in casual fans. So I'm a likey for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I went to a Memorial Tournament this year, and he played there, and he played well too. I think he was in contention coming into Sunday, and you can just tell there's a different air. Just the number of people that show up to watch Tiger.
Yeah, the buzz in general.
Yeah.
Everybody's tuning in,
Yeah, he's great for the sport. So anytime he's in contention, I'm always a big fan.
All right, man, hit us with your negativity.
All right, my no likey. Premal doesn't like soccer, but I have to bring up Clint Dempsey retiring.
Go soccer. Go soccer.
We knew it was coming. I mean, he's like 35 or something, so we knew it was coming soon. But it hurts because he's arguably the greatest American soccer player ever. And I'm also going to the USA-Brazil match in a couple weeks, and I thought maybe I'll get to see him play there, but seems like that's not happening.
Dang, a little too late, man.
I know. But, yeah, that's my no likey. My hate it, and this might just be a personal gripe. It doesn't seem like other people hate it as much as I do, but I hate that the NCAA is officially recognizing UCF as a national champion in their record books. So it was the Colley Matrix poll, I think, that put them at number 1 in their final poll. And I guess that's good enough to get formally recognized, like officially recognized. And I get that going undefeated is tough and should be recognized in some way, but claiming a national championship just because one poll put you there, I don't know. I'm not a fan of that at all.
All right, then that year Ohio State had a bowl ban and they went undefeated in Urban Meyer's first year. We got a national title that year. I'm gonna crown it. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's add number 9. So my negativity, my no likey, is I was just thinking about this other day. I got into a debate with my friend Zach, and I told him I'd call him out, and I'm a man of my word, so I had to. I hate that you can't change people's minds. Like, you ever been part of an argument and you're like, this guy sounds so stupid. I wish I could just have the power to change his mind. Well, this friend Zach, he has just a shit take about concerts and his rules for going and how he judges them. And I just wish he could see the correct way instead of his stupid, dumb way. Like, maybe I think that needs to be one of the options for if you could have any superpower. I think that should be added, instead of being being able to fly or invisible or something. It should be like being able to change people's minds, like Professor Xavier or some shit.
Oh, I could use that.
Another hate it as football season approaches. My least favorite school, that team up north, that school up north, Michigan, and their dumbass coach Jim Harbaugh. He said that his QB competition was still alive as we're heading into the start of the season. Everyone knows that Shea Patterson, the transfer from Ole Miss, is going to be starting. Yet Harbaugh, not only does he not just say it's a two-way battle between Patterson and a guy who started a few games for them last year, Brandon Peters, he said it was still a five-way competition between those two, Dylan McCaffrey, Joe Milton, and Jeff George Jr.
I don't even know who those last two guys are.
Exactly. Well, you only know Jeff George because his dad was a quarterback. And we know Dylan McCaffrey because of his older brother, who's now in the Panthers. And then another bonus, speaking of that school I hate, is a tradition unlike any other. Desmond Howard, once again, in his college football playoff predictions, picked Michigan. Michigan's not even being picked to win their conference, not even being picked to their half of the conference, the Big Ten East. Yet Desmond Howard's dumbass gets to be so insanely partial and get paid by a national media outlet to be that partial. And what seed do you ask that he picked Michigan at? Do we have a guess here, Akshat?
I'm going to guess
the top
number one.
The top fucking seed. Are you out of your mind? This guy gets paid to be on College Game Day and have no sort of professionalism. I fucking hate that guy. And my last one's kind of sad. My last hate it is Travis Frederick, starting center for my beloved Dallas Cowboys, being diagnosed with the autoimmune disorder Guillain-Barré syndrome. And not only is his season in jeopardy, that syndrome can be potentially life-threatening. They caught it early, and I'm glad he has, the money and the resources to get that extensive testing. So I'm hoping the most positive, but I hate it for him. He's a Pro Bowl center, and you're used to seeing in the preseason like injuries on the field, nothing that serious like an immune disorder. So that's definitely a hate it for me, not only from a football standpoint, but just in general for the guy.
Yeah, I hope he has a recovery as best as he can with an autoimmune disorder.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's going to miss the season at least, and we'll see what happens beyond that. There's a former player and now analyst, Mark Schlereth, that had it, and he missed just over a whole calendar year. He had it himself, and luckily returned to form playing, but that seems secondary at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to introduce a little new section of this podcast. I didn't want to go another episode before football season starts getting into the thick of it without addressing some serious things going on. This section is going to be called Getting Real, where we kind of get a second to at least address, maybe not go into super detail, but at least address some controversial topics. And I wanted you to cover the Maryland football situation. I'll let you take that away before I cover our beloved Buckeyes and their mess of a situation this offseason.
The Maryland stuff started with their player, Jordan McNair. He died during a practice held by...
of a heat stroke.
Yeah, the heat stroke, and it was, I think, conducted by their strength and conditioning coach. There was, just on all sides, from the coaches, from the strength coach, from the head coach, there seemed to be some malpractice, I guess. They were slow to respond, and when they did respond, it may not have been the proper steps. But yeah, that investigation's going on, and now DJ Durkin, the head coach, is under...
I think he's paid administrative leave.
Yeah, so he's on administrative leave, which... I mean, it's a sad situation, how it started. I think until all the facts are out, it's obviously hard to form, a full opinion on it. It seems like there's some wrongdoing on a lot of people's parts, and I'm hoping the best for Jordan McNair's family.
Yeah, and it looks like their university's taking full responsibility and plans to. This seems like one of those that kind of looks like they will be guilty and need a culture change around them. So, and it might be indicative of other programs too, but it's kind of interesting the fact that college football has so much of these instances compared to, I think it was years and years ago, an NFL player, Corey Stringer, passed away from exhaustion, and the NFL hasn't had something like that happen since. They've made changes to prevent that sort of thing, yet college is still behind in these things. So I hope the solace the McNairs find is in the fact that maybe it'll start to change things. It doesn't bring back their son, but hopefully it'll be the start of a culture change across college football. It should never be the goal of a program to, exhaust a player to that level. Obviously, they didn't intend for that to happen, but I mean, we all know the culture of sports like that. They try to break you down so that you become tough, but at what point is it too much? So,
right. And apparently McNair had previous heart issues that the training staff never detected or never told the coaching staff about. So hopefully it results in some protocol changes internally across the board.
Definitely. And my getting real topic, I didn't want to go forward. Obviously, listeners are going to hear a great deal about me talking about the Ohio State Buckeyes, my alma mater, my favorite team. It's your favorite team. It won't always be my rotating co-host favorite team, but the Ohio State and Urban Meyer situation with now fired assistant coach, wide receivers coach Zach Smith, and his ex-wife Courtney Smith. We just wanted to address it a little. We don't want to get too much into who thinks what, but Urban Meyer was suspended for the first 3 games of their season after being put on paid administrative leave. Their athletic director, Gene Smith, is going to be suspended for 2 weeks without pay. Nothing compares to what Courtney Smith might have gone through and what their kids are going through, so we kind of want to leave it at that while the facts come out. It seems like a messy situation, and Ohio State determined from a long investigation that there was some culpability by Urban Meyer as the leader of the program, dropping the ball a little bit. So his 3-game suspension will be served. He'll miss, and they're not just cupcake games for whatever that's worth. They do play TCU in Week 3, and Urban Meyer will miss coaching that game. So whatever you feel, whether it was too much or too little, that is the situation, and it was very real and still is very real for that family and the people surrounding the situation. So we won't always cover getting real, but we thought those two kind of dominated for a little bit, so we wanted to cover them a little bit. All right, let's move on to a lighter note in our usual Lottie Frickin' Da, where we highlight the best of the worst, the impressively unimpressive, those performances by players in losing efforts or in wasted time. And we don't have much of them because this is kind of a lull, but I did want to shout out anyone getting too hot or too cold on certain NFL players just from preseason football. That includes you, Akshat, with John Ross.
Hey.
But all of you fans out there getting too excited about someone because they face second or third stringers, let's pump the brakes a little bit. And let's not think the world's ending either if someone's struggling in the preseason. There's been plenty of things going other ways. The Browns are undefeated in preseason last year, and look what happened. So special shout out to you, Lottie Frickin' Da, all you guys getting too hot. The season's coming. We'll get a chance to have overreactions then, but I wanted to call those special people out right now.
I will be one of those special people because Andy Dalton looks like the GOAT quarterback in preseason.
Yeah, whatever. The Red Rocket. Red Rocket can have his preseason. Okay, should they be worried is our next section, our version of a panic, don't panic. So I wanted to get your take. Should the San Antonio Spurs be worried? Manu Ginobili announced his retirement. Tony Parker is, of course, now on the Charlotte Hornets. Tim Duncan has been a couple years removed and retired. And they traded Kawhi Leonard this offseason. Should they be worried? The Spurs. Is the Spurs way in jeopardy? They, of course, still have Greg Popovich. Should they be worried?
Yeah. I mean, I think that DeRozan trade was kind of a last gasp effort because they knew they weren't going to get much out of Kawhi. He seemed pretty done with the program or with the organization, and they seemed done with him too. But yeah, I think with DeRozan there, it's pretty much just him and LaMarcus Aldridge and then a bunch of, I guess, no ones. I mean, they have some players. They've got some defenders, but offensively, it's really just them. And it's kind of, in my opinion, a sign of Popovich's probably last couple years.
Yeah, he's got to be winding down, right? Just run out his contract.
Yeah, run out his contract, ride out DeRozan and Aldridge. If he can get something with them, great. If not, well, he's had a hell of a career, and he has nothing to hang his head at.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. They should absolutely be worried. I think it's the start of not quite a rebuild because, like you said, they still have some pieces there, but they're not going to contend in the West when it's all said and done, not with that roster. So, yeah, they absolutely should be worried. All right, our next one. I was thinking about putting him as my hate it because I don't like his tactic, and I'm sure he's stated that he's perfectly fine with people like me hating his tactic. But should he be worried and his team be worried? Jalen Ramsey. So he previously had a GQ interview where he pretty much talked trash about a lot of the quarterbacks. He talked trash about most, but then said some nice things about others. He said Joe Flacco, quote, he sucks. Tom Brady doesn't suck. Tyrod Taylor, underrated. Mariota, good game manager. Jared Goff, average to above average. What else did he say? Oh, Eli Manning, Odell makes him. And then he proceeded, he had a recent ESPN interview with Mina Kimes where he called out Rob Gronkowski, Danny Amendola. Is this method of trash talk, he's proven to be a trash talker, obviously, should he be worried? Should the team be worried about it being a distraction?
I feel like as a Bengals fan, I should hate him because he's the one person I've seen get in AJ Green's head.
You talked about that a little too.
Yeah, I mean, that was a moment that I've never seen out of AJ Green. But I actually kind of like it. I think the NFL gets boring when there aren't trash talkers, and it's probably also why Chad Ochocinco is one of my favorite players ever. I like the trash talking, especially if they can back it up. And he has up until now. I know he's only in his third year, but he's
man. That's exactly why I think they should be worried. Because when you trash talk, it's a team sport. Your whole team has to back it up. Because you can talk as much shit as you want, but if the corner across from you gets toasted, what does all that even fucking mean? Like he's acting like he's acting like he's Deion Sanders already, and I think you got to earn the trash talk. Like everybody's calling him the greatest corner in the league right now, but we have such a small sample size. I don't doubt that he very well might be, but I think you got to earn your trash talk. I'm just old school that way, and I think he's going to create a lot of enemies that want to see him fail, and I would love to see someone get in his head, you know? Kind of like how Josh Norman gets in people's head. And
remember Cortland Finnegan?
Oh, yeah. Andre Johnson?
Yeah. That was the only time I've ever seen Andre Johnson snap, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's why I enjoy it, just because I think, one, if it does get someone in someone's head, then you get these fun little scuffles and fights on the field. But then also,
yeah, it makes it entertaining. You're right, but I just don't like them.
That's fair. I think it also pushes other players to step their game up when they play him too, because now he's definitely got a target on his head, and receivers and all these quarterbacks that he talked trash about, they're all going to come out and want to pick on him and want to, kind of knock him down a notch.
Yeah, you might see a few illegal pick plays on him. I could see that happening.
Oh, for sure.
All right, this is a special episode already in episode 2. I wanted to debut another category. It's going to be titled Toasty Take. It's our version of just dropping a hot take. What good are sports if we can't make bold statements that we can't necessarily back up with facts and ones that might not be kept track of? So I want you to get a chance to drop a toasty take. And don't be shy. Don't be scared of that toasty take. It might get called out later. It might not. Who knows? But we're dropping it either way. So that way, if we're right, there is audio proof of it. So what's your toasty take?
I've got two, just because I felt like getting kind of liberal with this. But my first one is that the Bengals sneak into a wild card spot this season. I think everyone's got them finishing either third or fourth in the division. Well, no bias here. I'm putting them in the playoffs. My other one, and this one is definitely a toasty take, but I'm saying that Jameis Winston in 2019 will not be the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Wow, I dig that. Drop that and leave it there. Toasty take. Okay, my toasty take is that LeGod James wins MVP. That's not very toasty, okay? LeGod James is going to win MVP his first season as a LA Laker. That's not toasty. The toast is he's going to lead the Lakers to a 3 seed in the Western Conference, and you can butter that toast and keep it with you. They're going to get the 3 seed in the West, just behind the Warriors and whoever sneaks in it too, whether that's the Rockets or whoever. So, Lakers 3 seed.
I don't hate it.
All right. I dig it. Okay. Back to routine category. Who you got? What you feeling? We went over in the first episode a little bit of the QB battles. So I wanted to recap those in the last episode that I had with Berto. We went with the Browns, Tyrod Taylor versus Baker Mayfield. We talked about how Hugh Jackson's remained steadfast in saying it's Tyrod Taylor's team. But we were discussing whether it should be Baker Mayfield's team. The other ones we went through were the Cardinals, Sam Bradford versus Josh Rosen. And the Jets, Josh McCown, Sam Darnold, and Teddy Bridgewater. Of course, wanted to recap that pick because the Jets made a decision. They're going to go with Sam Darnold. He's going to become the youngest starting quarterback in history. I think it's like week 1 makes it 21 years and 97 days or something like that. Wow. The Jets also traded Teddy Bridgewater for a third-round pick to the New Orleans Saints. So it seems like McCown's your Jets backup, and they're rolling with Darnold in year 1. So they're using that number 3 pick and putting him out there. And then we had the bonus, more likely to watch the World Cup or NBA Summer League. And, of course, the correct answer to that is neither. And I
disagree.
Want everybody to know that. Okay. With college football season now starting, I wanted to give an update on the coaching carousel because we might have forgotten all the moves that happened in the offseason. At the end of the year, there were a lot of coaches that changed scenery, so I wanted to go over that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what we think about each of them, or our favorite ones. So, Chip Kelly is now the coach at UCLA. Dan Mullen is the head coach at University of Florida. Herm Edwards, formerly almost 10 years at ESPN, became the head football coach at Arizona State. A few other highlights. Scott Frost went from the national champion UCF Golden Knights to Nebraska. Tennessee finally found a head coach in Jeremy Pruitt. Jimbo Fisher moved from Florida State to Texas A&M on a 10-year, $75 million contract.
What a bizarre situation.
Weird situation. It's going to be weird to see. And Willie Taggart spent only 1 year as Oregon's head coach to then fill the vacancy left by Jimbo Fisher, and Willie Taggart's Florida State's coach. So, I wanted you to tell me what move you liked the most, which one you hated, and which one will surprise, will do better than expected.
The one that I like the most is Scott Frost.
It's a good one.
I was a big fan of Scott Frost at UCF. I know the sample size is
the national champions.
No,
oh.
I do not co-sign this. I know that obviously it's a small sample size, and being UCF, I don't know how many people actually really got to watch them despite the season they had last year. But yeah, I think that's a great hire, and that's an alma mater for him. So he kind of gets to go home. And
and that's where he wants to stay. So they have a candidate that wants to be there and will never look for greener pastures.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of a home run for both of them. I think that's just a perfect situation there. The move that I hate the most, I'd have to go with Willie Taggart. I don't understand that one at all. I mean, he was at Oregon for 1 year, and he wasn't even that good there. And I know Florida State, after losing Jimbo, I think they were kind of in panic mode. So they went with, I guess, who they thought was the biggest name, but that's just a head scratcher to me. Maybe it works out for them, but as of now, not a fan. The one that's going to surprise, I don't know if this is really a surprise pick, but Chip Kelly. I'm kind of just glad to see him back coaching. I liked him. I think you did not like him.
Oh, I liked him in the pros because it was easy victories when he was coaching. When he was coaching the Eagles in the division, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think he had a little bit too much freedom and too much power over the roster in the NFL when he was with the Eagles, and that was his downfall. He thought he could do in the pros what he did in college, and that was just kind of
he was cocky. He thought he was the end all be all.
Yeah, and he thought that his scheme could mask talent deficiencies, and that just doesn't work in the NFL.
Traded away some good players because he thought he was so high and mighty.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't work in the NFL, but it does work in college, as we saw with all his Oregon teams. But yeah, I think he'll come in and be pretty good for
I agree
UCLA.
with you. He's meant to coach college. In other news, the sky's blue, right? All right, so the move I like the most, you said Scott Frost. I really like that move. I'm going to go with Dan Mullen being Florida's coach. I really love the move for them. He's a Urban Meyer guy, so kind of returned them back to that coaching tree, and he loved Florida, so I really like the move for Florida. The move I hate, I agree with you. I don't like Willie Taggart just because I don't like that my coach is known to leave like that. In my mind as a recruit, how can I trust this guy to stay? And what he's pitching me is he's going to be around to see it through. He spent one season at Oregon. He was at South Florida before that. That's where he kind of developed a reputation because he turned around those South Florida teams from pretty much last place to finishing near the top. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. He's got around a 500 coaching record, so
47 and 50.
Yeah, 47 and 50. So we'll see how it goes. I just don't like the circumstances of it more than anything. And my one that will surprise, and I know a lot of people don't like the move, is Herm Edwards. I just have to think he just seems like he could motivate me to go out and play football, and I've never played. So I got to think he's going to get people playing. He has the NFL caliber coaching experience to know what it takes to get these guys to the next level and what they need to do. And I think he's going to, have that pro level discipline in his program. So I think that's going to be my surprise pick. I could end up being very well wrong, and I think most people probably disagree with me, but I like Herm Edwards, so sue me. Which QB should Alabama go with entering the season? So they've recently listed Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts as co-starters on their depth chart, and of course Nick Saban, being the very nice, generous man he is wondering why it's such a big deal to people, why they keep asking and caring about that position. I don't know, Coach. Why the fuck do you think? Anyway, who should start for the Crimson Tide?
It's got to be Tua, right? I mean, we saw
Tua,
them in
100%.
that. We saw them in that second half of the national championship game. That offense goes from being, I guess, respectable to just being absolute world beaters with him at the starting spot. I mean, Jalen Hurts he did great, I guess, for the first couple of years, but he had some very obvious limitations. And every time they played a good team, you could see that he struggled. But Tua, I mean, he came out in that game against Georgia and just lit the world on fire. So they gotta ride him.
I wanted to cover a little fantasy football because 'tis the season. You have the first pick in whatever league you're in, fantasy football draft. Who you taking? Is it Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, Zeke, Alvin Kamara, Antonio Brown? Who you taking first?
It's funny. I actually had a debate about this with some friends yesterday, and I kept saying Bell, and then I realized that I guess Bell's got the injury issues. He's also got the contract situation. So it's got to be Gurley. I mean, I don't think you could really go wrong with any of them. But if you gun to my head, I guess I'd go with Gurley. I think the one thing that scares me with Gurley, though, is that I remember reading recently that Sean McVay wants to kind of put more on Goff to carry the team now.
Like going so many weapons, that makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, and I mean, Goff is also a former top 2 pick. He was So I mean, and you have to assume that at some point they're going to put a lot on his shoulders too, which means you might get less out of Gurley. I don't know if it'll happen this year, but there's that possibility.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I love Le'Veon Bell, but the contract situation makes me nervous. I know he proves me wrong every time, but at some point it's going to cost him for not being, there practicing. So I'm going Gurley. I mean, I had first pick in one of my leagues, and I did take Gurley, so I got to go with it.
I will say if it's a PPR, I would probably take Bell.
Yeah, it's a good thought because they split him out wide.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted a small one. What's more impressive, hitting for the cycle in baseball or throwing a no-hitter? So the reason this came up is Christian Yelich of the Brewers the other day was the 4th player ever in the modern era to go 6 for 6 and hit for the cycle. Obviously, the cycle is more common than that, but his version of that cycle was very rare. So I wanted to get your take because the numbers are nearly identical for the amount of times it's happened, no-hitter versus cycle. What do you think is more impressive?
Oh, that's a curveball. I'm not a big baseball guy, so I'm going to...
Nice. I see what you did there. That's a curveball.
But I'm going to go with... I want to say it's a no-hitter. Well, I think just because I guess with a no-hitter, you're facing 9 other batters. I mean, and for a full 9 innings, none of them get a hit off of you.
Yep.
And for the cycle, I guess if you get a cycle against like a crappy pitcher, I guess it's a crappy pitcher. So.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with hitting for the cycle because I think that triple is so sneaky hard to get. And getting all of them in one game is crazy tough. You're getting the right pitches, hitting in the right area. And I think when a pitcher's on, he can be on and just be making everyone miss. So I'm going to go with the cycle. They're both really tough, but I don't know. It's just tough to stretch out that triple. It's weird. The triple is almost more difficult than the home run part of the equation is.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to what you're feeling. And I'll start this off, and then I'll kick it over to you, man. All right?
All right, sounds good.
So I'm digging Travis Scott's new album, Astroworld. It has so many flames, so many flamey cakes, creme brulee. And also seeing Jay-Z and Beyonce in concert, Our King and Queen. And then roughly a week later, we got to see and attend the Breakaway Music Festival, which included Migos, Khalid, Jaden Smith, and more. And got to be there with friends, old and new. Got to be there with you, man. And so that's what I'm feeling lately. What about you?
Pretty much the same. I mean, Breakaway, I was there for Jay-Z, Beyonce. I got to add, I did miss Migos and Jaden Smith.
Wow, man. I wasn't going to call you out, but I was hoping you called yourself out.
I had to.
The 2 most live of them.
Yeah, but I did get to see Khalid and Halsey, and then Cascade, or Cascade, as Premal. And then
Nobody
also...
cares about the DJs, guys.
I don't know. Cascade was very, very fun. And then also, I guess I'm digging the next few weeks for me. I'm going to New York for USA Brazil, as I mentioned earlier. That same weekend is a US Open men's final, so I'm going to go out there for that match too. And then the following weekend, I'm going to Dallas for OSU TCU in Jerry World. And then Hassan Minaj is also in Dallas that same weekend.
Look at that.
Which just happened to line up perfectly. So, yeah, I got those coming up.
I dig it, man. Okay, so every episode, I'm going to end with my 2 much cents. I love giving advice, and it's usually more than 2 cents worth. So it'll be my chance to educate the people and give them advice they didn't think they needed. So my advice for this week, my 2 much cents, is to think before you react/overreact. So take a second to breathe and seek counsel if you're wound up. Oftentimes, overreacting is just fuel to the fire instead of diffusing a situation. I'm guilty of this so many times. So
We all are.
yeah, we all are. So try to catch yourself every once in a while. I'm not saying you have to every time because, we feel with our emotions. So try to catch yourself and assess the situation if it's really going to help it or if it's just going to be a temporary help to how you feel. So that's my advice for this week, man.
That's good stuff, man.
All right, well, that wraps up episode 2 of Prem Brulee. Thanks for joining me, Akshat. And as always, check out our other Holyfield podcasts. Subscribe, listen to all the any different method you can choose. Prem Brulee's on all of them. So we look forward to more episodes with rotating co-hosts. Thanks.